Good morning, everybody, and welcome to this week's Facebook Live. So today I'm going to talk about re-establishing your boundaries to manage your stress. So generally, we need a healthy set of boundaries to, obtain a balance to life. So good life-work balance. And remember, the emphasis on life, not work, and that's the way it should be. But if we get stressed, and as it builds, and it tends to build incrementally, stress. So the stress builds up incrementally, and boundaries get a little bit skewed. So we need to, take charge of those. We need to bring it back to center and rebalance ourselves. It's not necessarily that your boundaries are gone completely. They could be just gone in one particular area of your life, such as work, or where you've taken on too much work, you've let it build up and build up and build up. Therefore, your boundaries are skewed. They're beginning to get skewed there. So the questions, I have some questions. I'm going to read them out because I want to make sure I get them right. They are in the blog, so don't worry about taking them down. And the questions I pose are all about different, different scenarios, and how we can start to look at those questions to recognize, okay, maybe I have a problem here. Maybe I have a problem in one particular area of my life that I need to, I need to take charge of. I need to readjust it. So, questions are: do you constantly say yes, even when you know you don't have any more time? And let's face it, if you're stressed, you're also very busy. We tend to be extremely busy when we're stressed. So we tend to take on more and more and more. And that's a skewed boundary. We're not saying no. So are you doing that? Are you constantly saying yes to people? Are you making decisions based on people pleasing? Again, an awful lot of time, busy people will be people pleasers. Or are you, so afraid that you can't, you won't stop and disagree with somebody? Are you afraid of their opinions? Are you saying, okay, I'm going to change myself, who I am? I'm burying my sense of identity because of somebody else's opinions of what I should and shouldn't be. Are you so afraid of that? Are you afraid to argue back with them and say, no, I'm not going to conform to what you want? Another area maybe in our personal lives that can come up. Are you trying to constantly make everybody happy? But you're miserable. You're miserable. It's not necessarily with every area of your life. Maybe it's just with a friend. You think they're your friend, but they're constantly using you. They're constantly putting on you, and you're enabling them. You're enabling bad behavior. So if that's the case, then you're miserable there, and you are, but you can't stop it. You just seem to be going on this train down the track that's heading to disaster. You're heading towards burnout. And you can't say no, and you're very pretty miserable. Are you using then unhealthy habits to self-soothe yourself, or maybe food, and using food or alcohol to cope at the end of the day, or to shove down your feelings at the end of the day? Are you somebody who you're sitting there hopefully waiting for them to wake up, finally wake up or grow up in order to take responsibility for their life or whatever the responsibility is, so that you can let go? If any of that's happening, again, that can often happen with mums. We take on too much for our kids. We take on, even as they get adult, as they become adults, we still do for them. We still do too much for them. They're adults. They're responsible for themselves. They're responsible for their own lives. We're enabling them. We're enabling other people. Maybe it's a partner and you're enabling them. Particularly you will see that around addiction. And as I said, have you lost your sense of identity? Who you are, because you've been trying to change so much into, what you should be according to someone else. Now that could be, again, it could be in work, it could be with a friend, it could be with a partner, it could be with your extended family. Maybe this is a role you've played all your life. But all of those, everything I've talked about there is a skewed boundary, totally skewed, and you need to step back. You need to start taking charge of these boundaries and saying no. So what do healthy boundaries look like? I'm just going to do a very quick run through this morning of what somebody with a healthy boundary would do. So they would have a clear sense of identity of who they are and their self-worth. That I am worthy, I am good enough is a phrase, that they would have ingrained in their belief system. They would only engage with people who have healthy boundaries. And they would delete or minimize contact with those who don't. They would surround themselves with a positive supportive system. I've talked about that. A tangible support. They'd have informational support. They'd have people around them for social support. They'd also have people around them for emotional support. Some of those are interchangeable. That one person can fulfill all those roles. Sometimes, they fulfill one or two of those roles. But they include, having a therapist. They include having access to doctors and dentists. And again, busy people tend to put all those even the simplest thing like a checkup for your dentist or your doctor can go by the wayside because you're so busy looking after others. They ask for what they need and want, and they're not afraid to express their opinions about themselves and about the world around them. And they use their emotions appropriately. So they express their emotions appropriately. They don't throw a tantrum. They don't start screaming at people and blaming others for what's going on in their lives. That's somebody who has a skewed boundary. It's not appropriate. They are self-confident, but if they make a mistake or something fails for them, they don't see that as I am a failure. They see that as, okay, made a mistake, apologize if I need to. Okay, that didn't work out for me. What can I learn from it? And that's the key. I think that's a really big key there about mistakes and failures, is that we see them as learning opportunities and apologize if it's appropriate and safe to do so. They communicate. Again, this would be very key in their relationships with everybody, work and life relationships, that they communicate effectively and from a base of their own beliefs and values and what they believe and value in their lives. And they treat everybody with respect equally, even if you don't agree with somebody. They are entitled to that conversation. They're entitled to say what they have to say. They're entitled to their beliefs. They're entitled to their values. You treat them with respect. You don't have to engage with them, but you treat them with respect. And you trust people appropriately. So that's at the right time, and I've spoken about this in terms of relationships. And it can work in the workplace as well. You don't just go in and start, blurting out things about your life. You trust people in incremental stages. You don't just trust them off the bat. And that's a healthy way to deal with it. So how can you do this? Now, how can you, if you're saying to yourself, okay, I'm very stressed, I know there's something wrong here, my life, there's something going on, I need to stop for a minute. That's the first thing you should do. Stop. Just stop and take a break and take a breath and go, okay, there's something wrong here. And then the very first thing you should do is not take on anything else. So you have to start saying no. So if you do nothing else to start reestablishing your boundaries, just start saying no to anything else. You already have a huge to-do list. You're doing too much. You're stressed and overwhelmed and exhausted by what you're already doing. So say no to everything else. You have to start saying no. And that is the first thing. And yes, you are going to feel guilty about doing that. Particularly, if you're in the realm of people pleasing, you're in relationships around people who have addictions and things like that. Yes, you will. But you have to do it. You have to start somewhere. And a baby step is just to start saying no. Even as I say to my mums in my mums group, is we have a circle of trust. That is somebody who is, the closer they are to you in the center of the circle, that's how close they are to you. So that could be a partner, your children. Then you have the next stage out. You could have close family members, best friends, things like that. The circle gets wider and wider. Even if you start saying no to the people on the very outer rim of this circle of trust, if you start there and you can start working in, because you gain the confidence of saying no to these people on the outside rim. So maybe that's just neighbours, maybe that's just colleagues that you don't really work with, but they're in work and they may come to you an odd time. Can you do this? Can you help me out? You can start saying, no, I can't, I'm too busy. Saying no in easy steps is maybe the way to go for you. And then you work it in to start saying no to the closer family members, closer friends, your partner, your kids. But start saying no to anything extra. Do not take on anything extra. That's the first step I would say to people. And the second step I would say to people is, start establishing your basic self-care. So that's your meditation, your sleep. Getting a good night's sleep is essential. If you're very busy, if you're very stressed, your stress hormones are going to be flying around your body. Your adrenaline, your cortisol, you're going to be getting yourself into a very negative cycle between stress and sleep. And it's almost, they feed off one another. So, you're stressed out, you're overtired, you're exhausted, something has to give there. So I say to people, start saying no. Tackle your meditation, which will help you calm down. It'll help calm down those stress hormones. Start getting out for a walk at lunchtime, 15 minutes. These are small baby steps for boundaries. They're small foundations of your basic self-care, but they help you, set a boundary as well. So you start to help your sleep cycle then. Cutting out the caffeine in the afternoons will help your sleep cycle that night. It's when we're very stressed, we're not getting enough sleep, we're going to be reaching for the carbs, we're going to be reaching for the sugar, we're going to be reaching for the caffeine. All of them have, damaging effects, not only on your stress levels, they will increase your stress levels, in fact. They will also build in the negative cycle of you not being able to get a good night's sleep that night. So if you can do those and start pulling back the boundaries in small baby steps, as I said, get out at lunchtime. We're coming in now to the winter months, the autumn and the winter. The lunchtime is the best time to do it. So walking away, that's a boundary. Walking away from your desk at lunchtime, 15 minutes. Go outside, get some fresh air. Take a quick walk. You're helping your sleep hunger drive. You're going to get a better night's sleep. You're reducing your adrenaline in your body. You're calming down. You're getting that movement going again. Things like that. And I have listed out quite a number of other things in the blog with regards just to self-care. The other thing then, a few other things I'll just mention this morning is, review your priorities. What are you doing? What is on your to-do list? What is on your current to-do list? If you're starting to say no to people, then you've got to look at, okay, well, what am I doing? And be actually, real about the time you're spending, because all those little 5 minutes, it's a 5-minute job. It's usually never a 5-minute job. It's usually a lot longer, and it eats up your time. So therefore, your own to-do list is growing and growing. You never get to the end of it. You never get time for yourself. So you have to start reviewing your priorities. There's a free worksheet, 3-page worksheet in my free library. Go sign up for it and get it. It's at www.DeborahByrnePsychologyServices.com. You can get that in the library. Look at how you're treating others. So how am I interacting with others? How am I speaking to others? Am I somebody who wants to be spoken to with respect? And do I want my dignity? But are you affording that to somebody else? You've got to be honest with yourself. Am I doing that to other people? So when you start to treat people with kindness and compassion, with respect, with an open mind, then they will return that to you. If you're, as I said, if you're the one that's screaming and shouting and blaming, then you're the one with the skewed boundary. And as I said, accepting bad behavior is a no-no. That's another small boundary. You are not a punch bag for anybody else. So that's either a verbal punch bag, and I hope it isn't a physical punch bag as well. Both of those are domestic violence issues. Even if it's in the workplace, it is not acceptable to be somebody else's punch bag. And it is against the law, and people can be prosecuted for that. So if that is the case, I would ask you that, stay safe. Be careful of your safety, but reach out for help to an appropriate person like myself, or to somebody like Women's Aid or Refuge. Trust your gut. That's the next thing. When we're stressed and we lose sight of our boundaries, we lose sight of our gut instinct. And remember, our central nervous system is all connected. So it's not just what goes on up here. An awful lot of the time, when we experience something, we will experience it first down here in the gut. You will have that sensation in your body. You may not consciously be aware of that, but we will have a response within our gut. And when we start to ignore that, we allow the bad stuff to happen. Then we're ignoring our gut that's telling us there's an alarm bell going off. It's there for a reason. It lets us know that this is not safe, that this environment is not conducive to me being in an appropriate setting. So we need to re-engage. Who are these people that are setting off my gut instinct? Get to know that gut instinct. It's there for a reason. It's been there for millions of years. It was one of the first systems that we developed millions and millions of years ago that told us this isn't a safe environment, that this person isn't safe, that we need to protect ourselves, that we need to set a boundary with even something as simple as setting a boundary, a simple boundary with somebody. It'll start here. It'll start in the gut. And then it travels up and it ticks off our thought patterns, and it's our thought patterns then that can escalate out, and of course then we get distorted thinking. But initially it will start. So getting and reconnecting with your gut instinct, is vital. And also, as I was saying, to get moving. That will help you reconnect. But it'll also help you if you have had, bad experiences. Getting moving will help your body to expel, what was contained within it. And that's a whole different conversation about the vagus nerve. But trusting our gut is really, really vital. It does tend to switch off, as I said, when we get stressed. So it's vital, again, that we take that baby step of taking the moment, using meditation to quieten down. It's 3-minute meditation. If you'd like to learn it and you're a mum, come into my group. I will go through it with you, and we will learn how to meditate. We've just done a 4-week course in the group on how to meditate. Different meditations, muscle relaxation, grounding exercises, all vital for helping you get back in touch with your gut instinct and to help process out the bodily sensations. Because it's not just remember what goes on up here, it's not just what we remember, the body remembers as well. So that's important that we reconnect. So as I say, disconnect from people that don't feel right. That would be a next step. And build that positive support system. So I'm going to finish on that, build that positive support system. Informational support, people that can give you, who can give me the right information. That's empowering. That is so empowering when you know who to reach for. So even if you gather that information now, maybe you don't need it right now, but to know who I can contact, my GP, is there a therapist I can contact? Is there, the bank manager who I can contact, the banks? What are the numbers? If my card was lost, my bank card was lost. You get into a panic, but having that information to hand will help you calm down. So information is really empowering. Having that right information, I've talked about my own children having disabilities, having that right information was vital, but it took me a while to find it. That's why I do these videos. That's why I do the blogs. Giving you information is empowering. It can send you in the right direction, get you recognizing, okay, I might need help there. Tangible support, again, who can help me tangibly? Who do I need now to help with the kids? Who do I need to help me in work? Do I need support in work? Who can I reach to if there's a problem in my life or in my job? Emotional support, who's positive there in my life that can support me? If you're very stressed, you need emotional support. Social support as well. People who are emotionally positively supporting me can also maybe socially support me. So you could have somebody, even one good friend, just one good friend can be there emotionally and socially to support you. It's vital. Having a connection. We are human beings and we need that connection with other human beings. All of those will help you reduce your stress and reestablish your boundaries. So as I said, minimizing contact with negative people. And if you're unsure about doing that, again, if you're a mum, come to my group. There's a link in the description come into the group. There's a free course, a whole course on deleting and dealing with negative people. So I'm going to leave it there. Invitation is open. Come and join my group. Thank you, Helen, for your comments this morning. Thank you very much. Yeah, I do. I'm loving yeah, the vagus nerve. Yes, absolutely. So key to what we need. To learn about, the mind and body connection is to understand that, as part of understanding that. And Deirdre, as always, thank you very much for supporting. So I will leave it there. The link, if you'd like to join the group, is underneath in the description. And if you need support in any way, shape or form, I'm also available, and you can book a call to have a chat with me. And thank you all again this week.